It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. And now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Yes, it's showtime. What's happening, everybody? It is that time. I don't have my watch on, but I'd say, pro basketball, there's a brother that plays out in Portland, Damian Lillard. And, he's really clutch, great player. And when he's really hot, he says, it's Dame time. Right now, it's G time. Time for the Geno Jones Show. I'll come to you live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. in Chicago, 3:30 out on the West Coast, out there in Portland, where Dame Dollar in, along with my daughter and son-in-law, and Brooklyn, the Bulldog. All right, I got a guest, a good friend of mine, media star in Chicago, multiple platforms, doing this thing. He's got his own podcast called The Chris Bass Show, and it's going to be coming to us in a second. So first of all, I need you to do a brother favor. I need you to like, I need you to share, and I need you, for those who haven't done it, maybe you're checking out the show for the first time. Where you been? Huh? Your CP time, where you been? I've been launched this thing back officially in October. Glad to have you, though. So tell everybody you know, your friends, your relatives, your kinfolks, your cousins, your co-workers, your church members, your sorority and fraternity brothers and sisters, even folks you don't like. They need, Tina Turner said, simply the best. Simply the best, baby. That's what I'm talking about. The Geno Jones Show. Like, share, and subscribe, okay? And you can tag these episodes because, I know. And shout out to all my folks on all my social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. Because, man, I'm a tagging soul, so I'm wearing you all's pages out, but I appreciate the support. But like, share, and subscribe to the Geno Jones channel right here on YouTube. If you'd like to be a sponsor, I'd be honored to have you as a sponsor. It's all about supporting black businesses. In this era of racial reckoning, or as some people call it, white corporate guilt money, I'll take it right here because we do it. Now, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole today. Go back and binge watch those episodes, all right? From 1619, the trillions of dollars in free labor we generated, and Jim Crow and segregation, and okay, you get the point. So you want to be an advocate, you want to be anti-racist, you want to support Black Lives Matter, Black businesses matter, and Black entrepreneurs matter. So holla at your boy. And if you are looking for the ultimate pitch man, or if you're looking for the brand ambassador to build your brand, your business, help move your products, your goods, your services, let me just say this to you. Simply put, I am not the king. No, I am not the king. I'm the king. I'm the king of pitchmen. Holla at your boy. Leave me a message right here on my YouTube channel. All right, let's get right into it. We were talking about this yesterday on the show, and the buzz is out there. Kanye West, yeah, I know. It's complicated. Leela James is the recording artist, R&B star Leela James. She's got a new single, and it's called Complicated. And for many of us, the relationship that we have with Kanye is complicated. He truly is a musical genius, love his music, not down with the MAGA madness and some of the others, it's complicated. Let's just say that. But Kanye is about to release a brand new album. His 10th album, it's going to be released. He's going to stream it really Friday morning, like at midnight, Thursday night, Friday morning at 12 a.m. It's called Donda. We talked about that yesterday. Now, Donda, that is his late mother's first name, Dr. Donda West. She was a brilliant woman. She was an educator. She taught English at Clark Atlanta University. Then she went to Chicago, and she was the head. As a matter of fact, she was the chairwoman of the English department at Chicago State University on the south side of Chicago. As a matter of fact, Kanye went there for like 1 year, and then he dropped out. Hence his debut album that he released in 2004, The College Dropout. So he's got a brand new album. It's coming out, Donda. Now, by the way, only Kanye would do this. As a matter of fact, Kanye had to find a venue that was big enough to fit his ego in. That would be the Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta, Georgia. That's where the NFL team, the Atlanta Falcons, play their home games. 71,000 seats. Tickets went on sale yesterday at 5 o'clock Eastern time. I don't know how many's left. Tickets are going for like $25 and $50. And it's going to be Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. So I guess he didn't want to, conflict with the NBA Finals. Well, if it goes to a Game 7, it will be Game 6 is tonight in Milwaukee. If there's a Game 7, it's going to be in Phoenix, which will probably be Friday. So I guess he wanted to kind of squeeze it in between Game 6 and a potential Game 7 for all the NBA fans. I'm a Lakers fan. For those who know me and been watching the show, I ride or die with the purple and gold. So but I ain't rooting for Giannis because I was born and raised in Chicago. I love the city of Milwaukee. I worked there for a year. I had a #1 afternoon radio show, had a music video show that I was the host. So shout out to Milwaukee, my people that's up in Milwaukee. My man Harrison D. Kern, Walt Love, got nothing but love for the people of Milwaukee. But I can't ride with you all. Giannis is cool. Shout out to the Greek Freak. Really, he's a Greek immigrant because his family's actually from Nigeria. So I'm down with all that, but I ain't down with Milwaukee, but I digress. So I want to bring on camera my guest because we're going to chop this thing up talking about Kanye. Because we both, me and my next guest, born and raised on the south side of Chicago, very familiar with Kanye, his early career, when he was doing this thing with guys like Rhyme Fest. Really an underrated rapper. To see Kanye and to see Twister repping the West Side, my man Common. That's right. I'm a huge Common fan. South Side of Chicago doing his thing. So anyway, Kanye's now is a global superstar. You know that. But we just gonna talk about, get the pulse of the city. The city, I believe, still rides for him. I know a lot of people still love him. A lot of folks say it's complicated. Ironically, that he didn't decide to do this huge listening event. He don't even call it a listening party. He calls it a listening event in Atlanta. He was actually born in Atlanta, but he was raised in Chicago on the south side of Chicago in the South Shore neighborhood around 79th Street. As a matter of fact, my guest lived in South Shore. So, he's traveled some of those same streets. I want to bring him on camera. Like I said, he is a multi-platform star, radio. He's got a podcast, his own podcast, very hot podcast. You got to check it out. It comes Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. He'll give you more details about that as I bring him on camera right now. They say not right now, right now. Ladies and gentlemen, there he is, the host of the Chris Bass Show. I bring to you Mr. Chris Bass. My brother, how are you? Let me unmute you there. There you go. How we doing there?
Man, I feel great. I thought before I got to the show that I actually made it. Now I've made it. I'm on the Gene Jones show.
Don't do it.
I made it. It's too late. It's too late. I done did it. So yeah, I finally arrived. I've arrived. Man, it's so great to be with you, brother. How you doing?
Hey, listen, you as the folks down south would say, you already done arrived. You done arrived already. Hey man, it's beautiful to be able to share the platform, and we have supported each other from afar. We've been following what each other's doing and been very supportive. So I just want to acknowledge that on camera. I appreciate the love, the support, the encouragement, man, the kind words. It means a lot. They say that, we don't stick together, which is BS. People that say that we don't stick together, they are promoting and propagating that narrative for a reason, because they fear that if we really, really stick together in larger numbers, it's going to be a wrap, which is a different conversation.
Yes.
So let's chop this thing up about Kanye. Mm-hmm. We, like I said, we both grew up in Chicago. You actually grew up in South Shore. I do remember you doing radio at home. You still in Chicago. I started off in Chicago doing radio. Last time I worked at home was back in the mid '90s, but I have family there. My sisters, my nieces, my nephew, and my mother. So let me say, since I'm talking about my mom, Chris, let me do this, because my mother really made me feel bad last night. So usually when I close the show, I thank everybody, and I tell all my viewers, I love them, I really do. And I always say, Mother, I love you more than life itself. Now, you understand, when you're hosting a television show, radio show, podcast, depending on the day, sometimes it's just things get crazy and some things just slip by you. So my mother gave me the business last night, like all of a sudden that I have abandoned her, didn't love her anymore. So I know she's watching right now. So I'm just getting that out the way out front, just in case, for whatever reason, this time runs out. Because when I call her, when I video call her, I don't want to be disowned again.
Well, first of all, good save. Yeah, you don't. That's the one person you don't want to have on the bad side. If Mother Jones is watching right now, Geno's a very nice young man. I hold him in high regards. I'm sorry they played you to the left, but things happen for a reason. He doesn't mean it personally. He loves you as life itself. So I'm here to co-sign.
Thank you.
Because I do not want to see a grown man get a whipping.
No, I don't either. Even though I didn't play, let me set the record straight. I did not play my mother to the left. It just, I just, listen, man, it was a lot going on. And before I knew it, I signed off. And I forgot that I didn't even realize I didn't say it until she shamed me. So I just wanted to have some fun with that. But like we were talking about,
so you had that right, Mother Jones. Yes.
So Chris, you still work in Chicago. So let's start off. What's the pulse, man? Have you been able to kind of gauge the buzz about this album, about Kanye? Because like I said earlier, and you can attest to it, the relationship that the city has with Kanye is complicated. We are proud of him. We love his music because he truly is. I said last night, this term musical genius is really overused, because I've heard some people refer to as a musical genius that's not. They may be good, really good. Some may be great, but musical genius, when I think of musical genius, I'm grading everybody and anybody on the curb of Stevie Wonder. So if I can't mention you in terms of a music, because Stevie played every instrument. Prince, God rest his soul, rest in peace, power in paradise. Prince, musical genius. Stevie Wonder, musical genius. With a hip hop vibe, Kanye, I have to put in that conversation. Producer, writer, and even as a rapper. So it's a complicated relationship, from the college dropout to the MAGA madness, and telling Orange Hitler that he was like my father figure, the daddy I didn't have, which is ironic because he did have a dad, because him and his mom were in Atlanta when Kanye was young. His dad actually was part of the Black Panther movement. He was a journalist. He worked. He was like a photojournalist for a newspaper in Atlanta. So what's the current buzz in the Chi on Kanye and this soon-to-be released album, Donda? What are you hearing, seeing, and feeling out there in them streets, as they say?
I'm hearing nothing on my end.
Wow, crickets?
No, really, I mean, not even crickets. Just just completely dead. I'm talking about like dirt nap silence.
Wow.
So I have not dirt nap silence, right? I have not heard not one thing in my circles. So obviously it could be anywhere else. Anybody else can have a buzz on it. The thing about Kanye, to go about the points you mentioned, Geno, is the fact that he is a beloved son of this city and beyond. People have embraced him. Again, I do agree with you wholeheartedly about people saying musical genius, because musical genius is more of a PR term. To get people to recognize him or her. And they're not probably a musical, probably not even a genius, obviously, but it's one of those things where you turn around and say, oh, let me check him out. It's just, a way to get attention towards the artist. And going back to people just mentioned, you also throw in the late great Marvin Gaye, another musical genius. So your definition has to be, it has to be real. It couldn't be sugar-coated or a lie. Like I said before, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Stevie Wonder is the benchmark. Then you go from there.
And Prince. And see, so Chris, like for me, like I said, Stevie can play like any instrument. As a matter of fact, I'm sure have you seen Summer of Soul yet, that documentary?
Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I've not seen it yet.
Chris, you gotta see it. When I say you gotta see it,
It's must-see TV, must-see movie,
A
yes.
young 19-year-old Stevie Wonder. So I knew Stevie, of course, was a keyboardist, songwriter. He's written hit songs for other people, hit songs for himself. I didn't know he was a drummer. Dude, I saw him on the drums, and he was as bad as any youth. I can't think of like a real great drummer, not off my hand right now. But if you name that drummer, and this 19-year-old kid was killing them drums. I think the Ohio Players had, I think the brother's name was Diamond. He was dynamite. He was a killer on them drums. Stevie Wonder was phenomenal on these drums. Could play any instrument and sing. Prince, got to put him in the same category.
Absolutely.
Write, play every instrument, sing background, lead vocals, produce it, perform. Stevie is performer. So for me, like I said, that's kind of the curve that I'm grading on. And can you do, I guess to do a sports analogy, in baseball they call it 5 tools. A guy that can hit for power, hit for average, that can run, throw, good, in basketball, a two-way player like, Michael Jordan, LeBron James was the ultimate, Kobe Bryant. Great on offense, great on defense. So can you do, when it comes to music and entertainment, can you do it all? That's especially from the creative standpoint. Are you, because a lot of folks can sing, they can't write a hit song, they can't produce beats. And then when you can do it for yourself and perform and do it for other people, that for me, what's your benchmark?
But if you're allowed to do it all, because some of these artists get signed with these companies and they put you in a one-trick pony and a box and say, okay, you can sing, but don't write, don't produce, don't compose or anything else. You can compose, but don't sing and don't write. So you're getting a trick bag, depending on the contract that you have, when you're able to own your own masters, which is very key, and then you're able to have that creative freedom. Going back to, I said about Marvin Gaye, for example. Marvin Gaye, when he did What's Going On, he did first vocals, second vocals, bongos, guitar, everything else. And the guys was, hey, man, what's happening? Those guys were part of the Detroit Lions football team.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. So to do, was compiling all that layer to a classic song that still is timeless. Your music is timeless. And I really believe it's a form of time travel. You can listen to a song, remember where you were when you first heard it, how old you were, and everything else. So going back to Kanye, I personally not heard anything buzz-wise, but say, for example, we get closer to the launch date, like you said, by midnight Friday, Eastern time, we'll probably might see some buzz going towards that time. And I think about Kanye in the concept of game changer. So when you look at rap and hip-hop, and that's like, being ourselves, we were there on the ground, boots on the ground from day one when it came to hip-hop and rap, for example. Those guys and gals were able to carve a niche to make it successful. And so, someone like Kanye lights out by himself. And see, when you were visionary, usually your vision is invisible to others.
Yes.
Because your thinking is so light years ahead of itself, other people may take a little time to catch up with it. And Kanye was no different. The College Dropout album that dropped all those years ago still is haunting how great it was. Not haunting to the fact of scaring, but haunting to the fact that it would make the hair on your neck stand up. Or I had it when I had hair, but when I had hair, it was sitting on the back of my neck because it was so different, because it was so unique, and because it was so Kanye. So when you put in, going back to, you mentioned about Rhyme Fest, Twister, Common was called Common Sense before he dropped the sense part. That's how far I go back.
That's right. Me and you both, you're right.
Yes, that's right. Exactly. So we've seen how
over
far
there,
these brothers have come.
Over there from, because I believe he's from over there in the Chatham area.
That's right.
I think not far, somewhere around 87th in that area, Stony Island, and that. Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So the history makes it great. And going back to Kanye again, I mean, he's that guy. You said it's complicated. It's also frustrating.
Yeah.
Because we were pulling for him, and we still do. And for those of you who be of a certain age range, there was a movie, did a remake of it. It came out in the 70s, and it came out, I think, in the 2000s, called the Stepford Wives. Yes. So these wives were programmed into behaving a certain way and conducting a certain way. In fact, I mean, it's kind of like the Kardashian husbands, because once they got into the fold, something was going on, and I obviously can't prove it. I don't know if they take away your your Frank and Beans downstairs. I don't know what the deal is, but it's something about emasculating when it comes to certain these men, and even though it was just something something weird going on, and you try to pull for brother, going back to the brother Kanye,
right.
and the mega cap thing, and it's like, dude, come on back. So this album, in fact, it was funny because you and I spoke before me being on the program. I just saw a release about the show, about the album on RevoltTV.com.
Okay.
That talked about the article of him releasing the album and everything else. And so over the time, we've seen him here in Chicago. We have what we call the lakefront, or the lake, Lake Michigan, or depending on where you go, called the Point, on the south side. So he's been back over time doing, church services by the lake with various people. We've seen him on Joel Osteen, appearing on shows like that. So this Donda album could be a return home, quote unquote. It could be a comeback, and I'm hoping for brother, because again, I as a fan just appreciate the originality. So this could be the comeback album that he needs.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. Two things. So when I first heard the album title, and I know I told some coworkers of mine in my day job, my radio show, I said, okay, he named this Donda. I said, that might be a good sign, because I know he holds his mother in reverence. As a matter of fact, you can really see, and it's it's clear, and it's really painful for people who rooted for Kanye, especially who watched him and grew up with him, come from Chicago, saw him really come up even before he broke out and really got in the Rockefeller camp and started producing for Jay-Z and then Beyonce and Alicia Keys, but he was really in the Rockefeller camp. Things they got sideways after his mom died.
Yes.
Yeah, when his mom died in 2007, in November 2007, right after that is when things went sideways, because that following year is when he snapped on Taylor Swift at the MTV Video Music Awards and was like, look, Beyonce, this is you. Even though, actually, I wasn't mad at him, because I actually agreed with him. In that one case, I was like, yeah, brother, I'm with you on that one. Mm-hmm. But we all know that the recent trials and tribulations, he was here, he was announcing he was here in North Charleston, South Carolina. As a matter of fact, I was supposed to be at the event, but I was like, nah. He came by a radio station and did like a quote unquote like interview, and it got sideways. And the world saw that news conference when he was crying and talking about don't kill babies. It was just it was just it was just sad. And he's been very honest, especially recently, about his struggles with mental health. I remember he went on David Letterman in 2019, and he acknowledged that he was dealing with bipolar disorder. And then I guess you could say the real meltdown was like in 2016 when he had the nervous breakdown. He was hospitalized because he thought that Jay-Z he's like, Jay, I know you know real killers, man. Don't just send them out to get me. And right after that, he was hospitalized in LA. He was out there at the UCLA. They got a medical center, University of California, Los Angeles. Yes. That was in 2016. So we've seen the ups and downs. So when I heard that the name of the album was Donda, I knew. I said, wait a minute. He named this album after his mother? Oh yeah. I said, I felt, and I still haven't heard it, but I'm like, something or somebody must have got to him and said, hey man, listen, dude, what you need to do, you need to just kind of go back to your roots, man. Go back. And it was funny, I saw a review. This guy that was at this private, he had he being Kanye, had this real private, I know you heard about it and read about it, had a listening party Sunday night in Vegas.
Right.
Usher was there, Kevin Durant was there, Travis Scott was there, Playboy Cardi was there. And this guy is, I believe he's got some kind of show on the internet. I can't think of the brother's name, but he was like, man, he was like, this album, he was like, the beats, he was like, just so far ahead of their time, which can be good and bad. I got a little nervous. I'm like, okay, I hope it ain't too far out there. You were talking about that.
Right,
Sometimes you can be so far ahead of the curve that can't anybody hear it. But he said in terms of Kanye's, his flow, and just in terms of him rapping and the lyrics, he said he sounded like the hungry Kanye when his jaw was wired and was singing through the wire in the college dropout. And I was like, oh, if he sounds like he's broken. I remember the brother said, he sounded that album vocally in terms of his flow and his lyrics. He sounded like the Kanye that was broken, hungry, trying to go ahead and break through and get a deal. So if that's the case, then we're gonna be in for a treat. Because that Kanye, it was a good point. When he was broke and hungry, he was that's the college dropout. That's what we got.
Yes.
And then graduation right after that. That's what we got. So I'm looking forward to, because like I said, I root for this brother, man. But it's gonna be very interesting. I'm interested to see who he's gonna have on there with him, because I can imagine there's gonna be some hellified collaborations on this album.
Well, he'll always continue to be a draw. That's the thing about it, because he's Kanye. I mean, he got the gym shoes, the Yeezys, and everything else. I mean, he's branching himself out. Thank you, right. He's branching himself out, from that perspective. So, yeah, he has become seriously iconic. And I do mean that seriously. It's like the same thing about musical genius. He has become a living icon, and that's what you want to strive for, to be the best in your industry and beyond. So he has that. So my main thing with him is that I hope that certain people can be forgiving. I'll be the first to admit, when I did see him with 45, I don't call him by his name, the 45th president during that time, it broke my heart. It broke my heart to see him behave that way. Not only that, people forget, also on that same desk, around the corner of the desk, was my bad, Jim Brown was also there as well.
Yeah,
so
was. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So I'm like, come on. I mean, I don't want to get a twofer of two black men, selling their souls out. So I'm like, it just hurt my spirit. But you have to be forgiving. I mean, I try, and I figured, okay, look, I've embraced the brother since day one. Nobody's walking around here walking on water. So you have to just be due diligent and understand, the pain. Everybody relate to pain. Yeah. So obviously, like I remember they showed the footage of him in concert saying the song he had, Dear Mama, of course, about Dr. Donda West. And he broke down on stage and just had he just started to bawl. And, and that's rightfully so, because again, a lot of people play armchair psychologists. There's really isn't a handbook on grieving.
No, it's
everybody
not.
Right. Everybody agrees in their respective way. So some people go back to work, some people take a long sabbatical, whatever is conducive for them to deal with that person not being there anymore. So I think with him, he wanted to get back into his work, but maybe it was a little bit too soon. We can all sit back and speculate. But the fact remains is that he was trying to find a great life, trying to be married to Kim and had the children and everything else. And what he got out of it, I think, was just being a spectator, was the fact that we all are different versions of ourselves. The key thing is remember the versions you used to be. And hopefully he had a spiritual journey that could have led him to the Donda album, because maybe if you come around full circle.
What you said is interesting about different versions. I do motivational speaking, and I always tell people, and I tell it, but I live by this principle, and I always remind myself. I said, nobody can beat you being the best version of you. Nobody. You can name the great in whatever field, Barack Obama, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Prince, Michael Jackson. Nobody can beat Chris Bass being the best version of Chris Bass. And nobody can beat me being the best version of myself. Now, the key is I call it, shut off all those streaming services of all those voices from when you were a child to now. People telling you what you can't do, you ain't gonna be this. Your mama wasn't that. Your mama was a crackhead. Your mama was a slut out in the street. Your daddy was a drug dealer. Your daddy was a criminal. All the negativity. You're too tall, you're too short, you too dark, you too light, you too fat, you too skinny, you too dumb. You ain't never gonna be anything. Ain't nobody in your family. All that. Shut that off and always bet on yourself. I don't gamble. They say in Vegas, always bet on black, and I say in life, always bet on you. Always bet on you. Always believe in yourself. The biggest enemy that we face every day is the person that we see when we wake up and look in the mirror. And when we can get the hell out of our own way and, like I said, shut off those voices like Spotify or whatever streaming service, just shut it off and listen to your own voice and focus on being the best version of you. You are unstoppable. And that was the young. As a matter of fact, Kanye's told a story about College Dropout, how he kind of came up with the title, because he was actually he was at Chicago State University, where his mom was she was the chairwoman of the English department, and he dropped out, and he wanted to do music full time. He said his mom was, she was disappointed initially, but he said that, hey, listen, there's more than one path to this thing called success, and he stayed true to himself, and he believed in himself, and he bet on himself, even after he almost killed himself, fell asleep, driving out there in L.A. and hit a car head on and almost killed himself. And the drivers in the other car, they broke both of their legs. And he produced that, arguably, maybe not in terms of sales, but I mean, that's Through the Wire. I mean, that's iconic.
Yes.
And he's singing with his jaws, rapping with his jaws wired. But
never been done before.
Yeah.
Never been done before, yes.
But it goes to show you how much he believed in himself and how hungry he was. And he was like, you know what, man, what doesn't kill me, it's gonna make me stronger. So, and that's the Kanye that, everybody fell in love with. And like I said, when his mom died, because, he was engaged to a sister, I can't remember her name. And right after his mom died, he broke the engagement off, and he dated Amber Rose for a minute, and then he hooked up with Kim Kardashian. Now, I'll say this, because let me just, for the record, Chris, I gotta agree with you. You can talk to Lamar Odom and Tristan Thompson. wait, James Harden, his son about them Kardashians. Man, I don't know what it is, boy, but I'm glad I'm married. If I wasn't married, I'd be like, nah, I'm gonna sit this one out, ladies.
Look, as much as I love women, I would give them the Heisman Trophy stiff arm. I would not. No, Doc. No, don't. Do not put it on me. No.
Yeah, but now let me say this, and it's funny. I had this conversation with a coworker too. I said one thing that he did learn, and he learned well, because one thing about the Kardashian clan. Now, when it comes to talent, nobody will say they were the most talented, not a great actor, really no discernible talent. None. Except for marketing from a business standpoint. And that's really, you think about their mom, Chris, because, so their dad was was a big, as a matter of fact, their dad, he was like the publisher. He started Billboard magazine, their father.
Was it Robert Kardashian?
Robert Kardashian. So way back in the day, and Billboard magazine, it's like, it's not so much now as it was, but back in the day, and the 80s, the 90s. I mean, Billboard magazine was the Bible for the record industry, radio industry, music industry.
Right, the high standard.
Yes, it was the Bible. So he started that. His wife, Chris, she learned business because he was an attorney, and obviously he was connected with everybody. So the mom, she learned the business of marketing and being around the music industry. I mean, it's all about marketing and image. Yeah, I mean, you don't necessarily have to have talent. You can look. We can put you in the studio. You can't sing. Don't worry about it. Put you in the studio. We'll clean the vocals up. Get a producer, put some great beats behind you, and put you in a nice little outfit. Get you a stylist and put you out there. So she learned marketing, and Kanye, from a business standpoint, that's the one thing that I have noticed, Chris. I don't know about you, that from a marketing standpoint, he has become a marketing genius. I mean, if you look
absolutely.
I mean, just what this whole event, this listening party event, who rents out a 71,000 seat brand new dome stadium in Atlanta.
In any relationship, and we all know this, when unfortunately it's dissolved or becomes toxic, you can't do anymore with it, you walk away with something. You did learn something, and even though it came to an end, whatever you learn, you take it forward with you. And so he's no different. Going back to Kanye, he learned a lot. The marketing and PR that the Kardashians have is phenomenal. Once again, no talent. It's not about talent. I give a perfect example. I remember on my show years ago, I'm not a big fan of like the hot lives or the hot wives of Atlanta, stuff like that. I can't follow that crap. But I try to understand my audience that follows it. I'm a fair man. I'm a fair host. Okay, a host. I'll tell you what. I'll check it out for a couple of weeks, and I'll report back on my radio show to see, what the deal is. So I watched the hot mess of Atlanta and Love and Hip Hop and Love and Basketball and stuff, all that crap, and I just was not moved. Even Meet the Kardashians, I watched that crap too. I can't get that life back, but I tried to watch it. And so the one thing I don't like is the constant lies to the public. Case in point, they had a press conference meeting the Kardashians. So one of the press people asked, "Is your show scripted?" No, it's not scripted. No, everything is for real. And that was a lie, because what was going on at the time that they did not talk about, they were trying to unionize the writers for their show.
Right.
The writers want to get unionized because they want to get scale and not get, so don't lie. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to go there, but don't lie. So, the whole thing with them has always been, I don't know, it's flash and no dash. You know what I'm saying? There's no substance. But whatever they're doing actually is working from a PR perspective. And so that you gotta give credit when credit's due.
And right. And their thing is, their talent is they have mastered the art of being famous. And they've turned that being famous into a $1 billion business.
That's right.
The business of being famous. That's it. We're famous because we say and do, outrageous things. But they appeal to a different demographic. They appeal to, not necessarily. I'm sure there's some Gen Xers like us, like you and I, that watch it. But your baby boomers, not your baby boomers, your millennials, your Generation Z. So I'll definitely I'll give them that, and I can't knock the hustle. So from that standpoint, for me, that's the one thing that Kanye did take from just that whole relationship, that he learned. He learned, and so with his talent, he legitimate talent, true talent, musical genius, and then learning and mastering the art of marketing and branding. So it's put him on a whole nother level. So from that standpoint, I'm happy for him. And as a matter of fact, him and Kim took the kids. They took like a little family vacation. So that was nice.
Okay. Absolutely.
As I was taught when I was a young kid, kids don't ask to come here. So whatever issues that you and the wife or ex-wife or the mother of the children may have and the father, keep you all's mess away from. Don't poison those kids. Don't affect those kids. Don't burden those children with your drama. Get your ish together.
Yeah.
and be the best parent that you can, because they deserve that, because they didn't ask to come here. So
absolutely,
my grandmother Jean Jones had taught me that as a little boy.
So you got these great women in your family, man. You got your grandmother and your mother. These are wise people.
Oh yeah.
They tell you the right thing because they've lived the life, and they always want just to make sure that you don't make mistakes that they make, and they guide you, and hopefully that we listen. That's all we can do. And the fact about children, being involved in crap like that. Obviously, like you said before, not their fault, they didn't ask to be here. But they are affected, unfortunately, because and some children are forced to choose which one. Do you side with the mother? Do you side with the father? And then using them as bargaining chips.
Yeah.
It's whether it's outside of court or in court in particular. That's just flat out wrong.
Yeah.
But if you're able to come to mutual ground between both parents and say, look, I know you gotta go your way. I go my way, but let's have a way for our children. And that should be the understanding to say, look, despite how we feel, we love our children. So let's get together and focus on that.
Yeah, and that's the key, what you said, Chris. Focus, because the focus shouldn't be on you. The focus is on these kids that you brought in the world that didn't ask to come here. So that's what I said, get your ish together, and when it comes to them, put that as, do what's in their best interest. And it's hard, because people got egos, and they in their feelings, and they mad and resentful, and you got with this new heifer, and you bought her a bigger diamond ring, and now you bought her a brand big house, and you didn't get me, or the guys, he's tripping. Just hey, that's your get a therapist, seek therapy, get a good therapist, whatever you need to do. Go play some basketball. I don't encourage, but marijuana is legal. So, medicate yourself with some marijuana. Do whatever you need to do.
Or get some Netflix and chill. Whatever you gotta do to max out, right?
Right. You can't sleep, get you some melatonin. Whatever you gotta do, go work out. Get in the gym, get in the pool. Whatever you gotta do, like you said, binge watch on some kind of streaming platform, whatever your choice is. Speaking of wisdom, I got to shout out my grandfather too, because my grandparents raised me and my mom. My mom she was a young mom. So Conway Jones, still to this day, the wisest person I've ever known, smartest person, who quit school in 3rd grade. Born in 1888 in a little small town, Yazoo City, Mississippi. He quit school to get a job to help take care of his single mom, who had 3 children, my grandfather and his 2 younger brothers. Can you imagine in the 1890s in rural Mississippi, and he saw so slavery was over, but so my great grandmother was like I believe an indentured servant. She was still working for this really abusive white man on this farm or plantation. My grandfather would tell stories that would bring him to tears, and so my great grandmother had to send him to. He tells me the story, and my mother told me they had to his mother send him to Jackson, Mississippi, because he heard this man curse at his mother, and I think he either hit her or he was getting ready to hit her, and so my grandfather had plotted to take him out.
Ooh-wee.
my great-grand.
Your grandfather no joke, Doc.
No, he wasn't no joke, man. He didn't, and he was the most congenial. This is the kind of man Conway Jones was, Chris. When we left the house, if we were just walking to the corner, to the tavern on the corner, so you growing up in the Chi, you know about them taverns on the corner to get, just to really, and that was really like therapy. I was like his young therapist. Now I realize it, because sometimes, if he was upset, if he felt like my grandmother and mother would gang up on him and pick on him, that's where I get that from. He would just, he would vent and be frustrated. He'd never, use any profanity about it. He'd always say, but you always love your mother and your grandmother. You don't say nothing bad about them. But he would speak to everybody, be it the neighborhood, downtown, going to the bank, wherever. When I say every person he walked by, Chris, every person. Not some folks, not most of them. Didn't matter. Black, white, young, old, tall, short, didn't matter. He spoke to every person that he walked by. So he was just really just an amazing, remarkable young man. So I know I talk about him a lot. So now, growing up in South Shore, I'm sure you probably get some interesting stories that even if you didn't see yourself, that you heard because, when Kanye really came up, like you said, there's still a sense of civic pride. Hey, he's one of ours, South Side, South Shore represent Kanye. So you probably have some interesting stories about things that you saw or heard some interesting stories about the Kanye that was over there on 79th Street, maybe hanging out at Rainbow Beach, which is this legendary beach that's on the southeast side of Chicago. I'm sure you're very familiar with living in that neighborhood, Chris.
Oh man, look, that was not too far from where I lived at. I lived in the South Shore. We lived by the lake, and we was like I was like 8-9 blocks away, going east to Rainbow Beach. So all that was my stomping grounds. And
man,
the thing about growing up, like any place that you have is home, and every home has character. So every neighborhood has character. So South Shore was no different, and still isn't. I would say maybe nowadays it's kind of different because I just say this, it's not It's not how it used to be. Yeah. And nothing changes, nothing stays the same. But in the time I was coming, you talk about the 70s and 80s and the 90s. In fact, I raised my family in the house I grew up in during that time, in the 2000s, everything else. So South Shore for me was always home. So it was South Shore, Hyde Park, and Chatham, that order. I was always frequently in those neighborhoods. I went to high school in Hyde Park. My grandparents lived in Chatham. So those three neighborhoods were, the trifecta for me. And going back to 79th Street and those days, I mean, it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and you met interesting people. And coming up in the era that we did, it was house music, it was basketball, and it was girls. Yeah. Not necessarily in that order, whatever order you had them in. That was, we lived and breathed those type of items. Yeah. And so for us, it was, just getting along. For example, growing up in South Shore, we had gangs, the Black P Stone Nation, so-called, I won't say so-called, but versus the GDs, the Gangster Disciples. Yeah. Right. Now, we lived in the Stone area, and it was funny because the majority of the guys that were in the gangs, I grew up with. So, we rode big wheels together and played piggy together. If people don't know what piggy is, it's a softball game. You have a softball and a bat, a 16-inch softball and a bat, and piggy 1 was the pitcher, and piggy 1 was the catcher, and piggy 2 was the, batter and everything else. And that's how you play piggy. Then when you hit the ball, when you caught it in the outfield, you became the new batter. And it went on from there, unless you switch up. So we did that. We skateboarded. The girls played double dutch. Some boys too, but they were okay. I don't want to be gender specific, but you know who they were. And then you had a Foursquare and all these different various games. So once again, these neighborhoods had character. And so it was funny because I remember I'm going to Eckesall Park, which is a south side basketball court. And I was we were choosing up 5-on-5. And so there's one dude, it was up, man, word, man, you want to run with me? I said, dude, we used to roll big wheels. Don't give me that punk stuff. Don't try to front me off like that, man. I'll tell all these people, man, how your big wheel broke down when we were 8. That's all right, Chris. I don't want to talk about it right now.
Brought it back down to earth.
You're right. You had to bring, because I got something on them, during that time. And it was just, and then the flash forward to Kanye. Kanye just had just great Chicago pride, not to be anti anything else, just pro Chicago. Mm-hmm. And so when I remember go back to the video and the song you talked about Through the Wire, I mean, that's my stopping grounds, man. You had the New Regal Theater, during that time, and then across the street was Leon's Barbecue, and he went to a couple of Harold's. I said he went to all the places that I had gone to and always went to ourselves, and then went on the national front, which was a wonderful thing. So when we heard about Kanye and how he was able to just, again, we didn't see anything like that. We didn't hear anything like that. So once we found out he was one of ours, oh man, he couldn't tell us nothing, man. We had our chest was sticking out a little more. He's one of us. Yeah. And so with all that going on during that time, it's just one of those things where, history has a way of showing the characterization of people coming from various neighborhoods, no matter where you are, where you live. And it's just, I give another perfect example when I was coming up. So there was this guy named Tank. Tank was 6'4", 285, probably no body fat. And every time I see him, it was like, young blood, you still in school, man? Don't let them girls get you. You all right, man? You all right? And we, and he would school me every now and then. And he said, look, man, stay in school, doc. And we always look out for each other and run 5-on-5 for basketball. I was going to go back to the summer times at Eckesall Park. And I found out years later that he was third in command for the Black P Stone Nations.
Wow.
He never mentioned it to me. He never mentioned about his gang life. All he said was, keep your nose in the books, stay away from the girls if you have to, get the education. And so it's just amazing how, people, once again, it's character that these people have. I don't know about character nowadays. I mean, we're going to a whole different conversation down the road. I think because the black folk, to some of us, man, we're lost people. We're definitely lost in the desert. But when it came to back in the day, even though they were gang members, if a lady came down the street with some children, they took off their baseball caps and let the lady walk past, and the children.
I grew up and I saw that And I'm going to bring you back because we're going to have that conversation because that would be a whole nother hour. But I'm with you. But when you say that we are lost, you know what? Here's my take. I'm not going to say that we are lost. We are collectively, we are in this condition because, I mean, you look at any metric, any form of measurement, infant mortality, death rates from, you name the disease, hypertension, heart disease, cancer, if just trying to get a bank loan, redlining, zoning. So what I am saying is that the systematic and institutional racism that started 402 years ago, and so this the economic foundation of America was built on genocide and slavery. That's a whole nother show. So, this system is doing exactly what it was meant to do. But we're gonna have this conversation because you'd be a great person to have this conversation with. I've done it on some past episodes, but I think it would be a real cool conversation to have. And I'm gonna bring on because there's a brother that's a professor down here that's a historian, that's a brilliant brother. So I'll bring on some academics, some historians, and some people that really are the student of history of politics. Because you hear people ranting and raving, and this term critical race theory, which has been weaponized by people who want to maintain the institution of white supremacy. Because critical race theory, just for the record, for you all to understand, first of all, critical race theory is something that's only taught in law school. And basically what critical race theory is, it teaches how racism and white supremacy and institutional racism, how it intersected, how the law was used, how laws were written, like Jim Crow laws were written and were executed and enforced to reinforce the ideology of white supremacy. So it just basically teaches about how racism has affected our legal system and criminal justice system. And it's not taught in K through 12. If you're not in law school, you're not learning critical race theory. But what is but anyone that's teaching anti-racism or teaching kids about the truth about the Tulsa Race Massacre, the Red Summer of 1919, you had the race riots there in Chicago and all across America and all these atrocities, the hundreds of thousands, numbers, I don't even know if there's an accurate count for how many African Americans that were lynched. So these things happen, and there are people who don't want their children to know about the atrocities that America and under the American government, the Trail of Tears, how Native Americans were basically literally almost exterminated, like roaches. They were kicked off their land, and then they were shipped west to places like Oklahoma and in that parts of Texas, and they were given these blankets with smallpox. So you had Andrew Jackson. Just Google the Trails of Tears. So you had presidents and the American government that was engaging in this behavior. So you can't act like it didn't happen. So I didn't mean to go down this rabbit hole, but let's come back and have, because that'll be a great conversation to have you on as a guest. I want to do a panel, and like I say, get one of the historians that's a contributor, and get one of the attorneys of those that know the law and civil rights. It'll be a great conversation. Listen,
I would love to.
Let's do that. I think that was it. I love the story you just shared about, Kanye, about the video, because when you were talking about it, I visualized it because I forgot. But you're right, that through the wire, because that's what I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, the Regal, legendary theater, like what the Apollo was to New York City, the Regal Theater was that for Chicago.
Absolutely.
The same acts, Like the Jackson 5, before they went to the Apollo, they performed at the Regal Theater on the south side of Chicago, 79th, right off Stony Island. You name it, the who's who, especially in that area, performed at the Regal Theater. And then, of course, Leon's Barbecue. I grew up on 59th and Elizabeth. Racine was one block east of me. And way back in the day, they had a Leon's Barbecue on 59th and Racine. And Harold's Chicken, need I say anymore?
That's enough.
If you don't know about Harold's Chicken, just go to Chicago, and you can find some Harold's Chicken, especially on the south side, some on the west side. I think they got some in the suburbs. But if you like fried chicken, just go to Harold's Chicken. That's all we got to say, right, Chris?
Look, real quick, my dad, God rest his soul, knew Harold Pierce. Harold Pierce, of course, was the one who created Harold's Chicken. My dad used to be the manager at Airlie Funeral Home.
Wow.
So Harold would fry the chicken out of his kitchen, and then we put an order, not we, but my dad and his company would put an order in to Harold, and Harold would hand deliver it to Airlie Funeral Home out of his home when he first started. And then years later, when I was born, I was about 5 or 6. It was the winter time. I'll never forget. My dad and myself went to the Harold's on 63rd and King Drive in Chicago. We was there, and everybody that knows the original Harold's places or the franchises, there was a picture of Harold himself, a portrait of him in each establishment.
Right.
Who walks in? Harold Pierce.
Wow.
And him, my dad, hug, and they haven't seen each other in a long time. He introduces me. We go around to the back in the kitchen. He had on like a chinchilla, as I called it. Real nice coat. Had the hat. Took off the hat, a 3-piece suit on. Took off the suit jacket. Put on the apron. He fixed our chicken himself.
Wow. All right, listen. Before you run, since you brought up Harold's, I'm gonna put you on the spot. This is the big question for those who love Harold's. Either you grew up in Chicago, moved to Chicago, or you traveled to Chicago. Because I remember I was watching, I think the Jump, the NBA show called The Jump on ESPN. Kendrick Perkins gave Harold's Chicken a shout out. I was shocked. I'm like,
I know I like that. I know like that brother for some reason.
I tweeted at him. I said, "What you know about some Harold's Chicken on the South Side?"
Right.
So, which location has the best Harold's?
Now or then? That's a trick question for me.
Okay, that's a good. Okay, that's fair.
Okay.
Well, then and now.
Okay, so back in the day, because I keep forgetting that, because you were there, you lived behind that. The original Harold's in Hyde Park on, was it 53rd and what was the name of the street?
Kenwood.
It was man. Look, it was right there on the corner. It was the mecca of everybody came from far and wide to go to that one.
That's right.
Right, and the current one I have to say will probably be, let's see, Michigan and I think like Michigan and Wabash.
Really?
There's one there. Yeah.
Wait a minute, Michigan and Wabash. They run in the same direction though.
My bad. Let's see.
Is one near downtown?
It was one near downtown, like South Loop.
Roosevelt or
so it is okay. Michigan and I can't think of the other crossing street, but
is it near the Airy Crown and McCormick Place?
No, it's near the
Roosevelt.
I'm trying to blank.
Roosevelt Road.
No, not Roosevelt. No, it's the oh man, I hate doing this. Forgive me.
31st Street, 35th.
No, it's not 35th. I'm drawing the blank. I'm looking at the street now. That's why people out there don't get old. Please don't get old, because this is what happens when you have those moments.
So wait a minute, you telling me that 53rd and Kenwood's falling off?
I've had bad orders from them.
Really? Wow.
Me personally. So I don't mess around. I don't mess around with them anymore. But I'm sorry to run the same street, but I know it's on Michigan, so I've seen it.
Okay.
And I want Cermak. Sorry, Michigan and Cermak.
Okay, yeah.
Right. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's right. There is one there. You're right.
There is one there. Right.
So that's the one now. Okay.
That's the one I go to, yeah.
So don't go to the one on 53rd. Well, that one's closer to where my mother lives. So she's in Brownsville. So
okay, yeah, because I'm in Brownsville too. I mean, I'll deliver. I'll get the one from Michigan to Cermak in a second, Doc.
Oh yeah, well I'm glad you told me that. So when I do go home, I haven't seen my mother. I haven't given her a hug since March, the first week of March, 2000 because of COVID. So we fully vaccinated, and
you're overdue. But you're both overdue.
She may need to get that booster. So mother, I know you talk to Dr. Brink, get that booster.
That's right.
Keep me protected. Okay, man. Listen, Chris, man, we could go on, brother. I enjoyed this. Before I let you get out of here, so let everybody know the Chris Space Show. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and also you're doing a radio show that's being streamed live. So let everybody know and let them know how they can follow you on social media.
Oh, well, first, real quick. So Wednesday, I do a show called CBI, Chris Space Interviews. These times all local at 4 p.m. Central. Then I do a combination show with me and other guests that we call other hosts called Street News Now, 5 Guys and You, Thursday nights, and that's at 8 p.m. And then on Fridays, it's called Baseline. I just cover the week's topics and break it down, and that's at 4 p.m. My music show, based in the midday, you catch it on hitUSARadio.com. For more information, just go to Facebook.com, type in Chris Space, CHRIS, B as in broadcasting, ASE, and become friends. And you can be friends, and we can be friends, do it every weekend. And we'll do it that way. And then that way you get all my information about my platform programming, and we just take it from there.
All right, Diddy, I heard you slip that in.
Yes.
You can be friends, and we can be friends.
You can be friends. We can do it every weekend, right?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, my dear friend, this talented brother, my brother. Hey, I thank from the bottom of my heart, thank you. We wanted to do this, man, so I appreciate having you on. You're not going to be a stranger, even though I know you're pretty busy, so it's hard to get you. So I'm glad that I was able to get you in between with all your projects that you got going on. Thank you again. Support this brother. We got to support each other. Support Black entrepreneurs, Black business people like this brother Chris Bates and myself. Thanks again, man. So when I'm gonna have to look you when I come home. I'm gonna have to look you because I really need to take about a week. I probably need to take about a month to see everybody that I haven't seen in a year and a half. But,
all right.
First on the agenda when I leave the airport. I don't know when, but even I know she's watching, but she doesn't know when I'm gonna come. I'm gonna surprise her.
Oh, cool.
Because it's gonna be a special moment. We'll both be in tears because even though I get the video call her every night, but just to see her and actually hug her and just, me, and shout out to my baby sister, Angela Chambers Jones, because we were really, and my other sister, Nana, but it was me and my baby sister. We were praying and doing everything we can, trying to keep my mother healthy and keep everybody, away from my mother's apartment. But that's shout out to Angela, who went to the same, you and Angela were at Kenwood High School. She's a graduate of Kenwood High School around the same time you were there.
Kenwood Academy.
But she's no nonsense. Angela is no nonsense.
No joke. Huh?
So I didn't have to worry about anything. But no, listen, Angela is better than, she's like better than Navy SEAL Team 6 and the Secret Service. When it comes to our mother, no, she didn't care who you were, and she didn't care about your feelings. Your feelings were your problem, but what you were not going to do was be around our mother and get her sick. So
that's right.
She held it down. All right, Chris.
Good for her. G5 classified.
Yeah, yes, sir. Hey, top flight security.
That's right. There you go.
Top flight security.
Exactly.
Hey man, I have enjoyed this, brother. Thank you again. We definitely gonna do this again. I wanna have you as a regular contributor as much as I can, man. I know we talked about it, but
I will make time. You have my word.
All right, I appreciate it. That's my dude right there, Chris Bates, talented brother right there. So talented, support him. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you. God, most of all, thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show. I come to you live and in living color, in technicolor, whatever kind of color, Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. over there in Bronzeville in Chicago, where Chris Bates and my mom is, and the best tasting Harold's Chicken, shouting them out. Y'all need to holler at your boy. I need to be a brand ambassador for Harold's Chicken. Just put me some wings together over there on Cermak and Michigan Avenue, 3:30 p.m. out on the West Coast. Like, share, and subscribe to the Geno Jones channel right here on YouTube. tag this episode, go back and binge watch all my episodes, my conversation with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, talking about this brand new album that's out now, Jam and Lewis Volume 1, the album that took 35 years and 35 days to finally release. My conversation with Lettucey, who's back out here in these streets on tour. Conversation with my man Larry Dotson, former lead singer of the Barcades, got a solo album in the studio, finishing up the album as we speak. Senator Cory Booker, just a lot of great, all my monologues, the monologue, I got the humor, the jokes, I got the social political commentary, I got the heat. And if, like I said, if you need a brand ambassador, that's the new term, old school term. If you need a pitch man or a brand ambassador to help build your brand, your business, to help you move your goods, your products, your services, ladies and gentlemen, I got some good news for you. Holler at your boy, because I am the king, not the king, the king of pitch, man. Holler at me. Leave me a message right here on my YouTube channel or email. That's how you spell Geno Jones, G-E, all right? Geno Jones Show at Gmail. Get with me. Love to do business with you. Love to have you as a sponsor. I got these brand new headphones, so that's why I had to move around. I had to put them back in my ear. All right, everybody. I love each and every one of you. I really do. Thank you so much for watching this show. And I'm laughing. Yes, mother, you know I love you more than life itself. Only your mother can do that. Man, stop. You all know, because nobody talks about their mother more than me. You all know it. People that know me, who see me on camera, to listen to my radio show all my career. And she knows it too, but she wanted to give me the business. It was a good laugh. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. I'm going to get out of here because we got Game 6 of the NBA Finals in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Shout out to my Milwaukee crew, my man Walt Love in the building, and Harrison D. Kern, my people up there in Milwaukee. I'm riding with the purple and gold, though. I know. They're not in the finals. The Lakers are at home watching the finals with me, but we got this next year. Just please understand that. Dame Dollar, come on down. I-5, come on down. We got a jersey for you. We got a jersey for you with your name on the back of it in purple and gold. Oh, it look good. Yes, sir. I got to get out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to Markel Bailey. He is the official barber and hairstylist for the Geno Jones Show. Check him out on Instagram, on IG. Kel B Cutting Up, KELBECUTTINUP. Speaking of Chicago, shout out to Bruce Gage, the official wardrobe stylist and consultant for the Geno Jones Show. You can check him out on Instagram. Just search his name, Bruce Gage, G-A-G-E. And she's also been consulting me also, second wardrobe consultant. I got to give her a shout. Alexandria Jones, fashion designer, Columbia College, Chicago, talented young lady. Lexi Nicole Designs. Just search her on Instagram, Lexi, L-I-X-I-E _, Nicole Designs, or Alexandria Jones. Full disclosure, that's my baby girl, but she's bad, and now she's been her dad's second wardrobe consultant. You know, keeping me fresh for the 2021 and beyond, if you know what I'm saying. Have a great evening, or whatever time you are watching this. If you've gone back and binge watch it, share it with all your friends and family and coworkers and church members and colleagues and frat brothers and sorority sisters and even the folks, your neighbor that you really can't stand. Tell them they need to watch it too. I'll be back live Wednesday, Working Divas Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Until then, once again, thank you so much for watching, sharing, liking, and subscribing. And as always, be blessed.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of The Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.